Hey everyone, Chris McLean here, and we're back with another episode. And today in the studio, I have Vince from VGT Media, and he helps dental practices and chiros bring in new patients with Facebook ads and SEO. Vince, thanks for being here, mate. I know you've got a pretty interesting story. You're a young guy, sort of just getting started in the industry, but you've already got quite a bit of experience. We were just talking about that offline. So let's start back again, sort of how you got started with your agency, because it's pretty interesting for the short time you've sort of been at this. You've had quite an interesting journey so far.
Yeah, of course. So I got my start. I'm young, as you mentioned. I'm 18. I'm a senior in high school this year, and it was around 3 years ago when I got my first, on paper job, not a 9 to 5, but I didn't like my managers and I didn't like the management that they had, and it was from there, after I got fired for kind of a BS reason, in my opinion. I started looking into, online businesses and how to make money online. Of course, once you do that, you start getting, yeah, exactly. You're in somebody's marketing system until I die. But I first, started learning about drop shipping, tried it, found out it really wasn't for me. But then I found like the agency type thing. And at the time, I was, I think, a sophomore. It was my sophomore year in high school, and I, went up to my dad. I don't live with my dad. I still live with my mom until I graduate. But I basically just said, look, this is what I've been learning. I want to help you do the best I can. And so we, tested some different things with him. It was really, he was like, thank God I had him, because if I didn't have him, I don't think I would have been where I'm at today. But from there, I got up to the point, I think it was 18 clients. I know I didn't get the 20 client threshold, but I was doing really well at the time. It was my summer of sophomore year. And like I told you, I really wasn't doing much other than working, sitting in front of my computer all freaking day. And at the time, I mean, for those of you who are in real estate, the agency niche in real estate, and you guys are killing it, I applaud you. I hated it. I think they were taking advantage of me because I was so young.
Yeah, right.
So I ended up completely wiping them all out. I mean, we still ended on good terms. I don't want to, make it seem like I said F you or anything like that. I'm in contact with some of them today. But
amicably parted ways.
Exactly. Yeah. Ended on good terms. But now from there, I really wanted to focus on one niche, and that was like high ticket, where I can make the most money. And that's dental and chiro practice. And that's what I'm, doing now. I've been doing that for about 8 months now. I have 11 clients currently, and I'm just, looking to scale as best as I can.
Yeah, nice. How have you found that shift? Because those are quite different niches. They're quite different requirements and legislation and that kind of thing when you move into, I guess, from real estate into medical and that kind of thing. How have you found that transition in terms of, as the base stuff, how you run ads, how you publish stuff, the creative, that side's relatively simple. I mean, the principle's the same, right? But what have you found? Has there been a challenge in just switching niches like that and sort of moving into dental and something that's quite specific, right? Dental and chiropractors.
Yeah. Well, the biggest challenge that I faced was actually getting meetings, landing meetings, and ultimately getting clients. Because, with real estate agents, you're communicating with them.
Right.
And I think one thing that I could have done better was going to like a branch, like in my town or something like that, and done that way. But with dentists and chiropractors, it's extremely hard to get a hold of them and, get them to agree to a meeting, get them, to sign on and everything.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the ads and the campaigns and everything, it was just finding what worked. I wasn't a huge fan of doing like 2-week trials, so I just started doing 3-day trials, and saying, look, I was just approaching people. And I was like, hey, this is what I know. Obviously I'm young. I'm willing to do this for a few days for free. Obviously they paid like $100 in the ad spend. And I just got them some good results. I was like, okay, great. This is what I got you. If you want to move forward, great. If not, you can at least give me a testimonial. Some people didn't move forward, but they did give me testimonials, which I greatly appreciated. That, helped me out humongously. But it was really just finding out how to structure campaigns, how, what's the best way. Do you charge them before they come in? Do you give them stuff for free, stuff like that. But one thing that really helped me out was, what's the book? I read a lot of books. And this actually might be Sell Like Crazy, by Sabi
Subru.
Yeah. That helped me out really with positioning the offer, the guarantee, and things like that for them. And that also helped me out once I reread it, kind of doing the same thing for my business, having a strong guarantee, having a strong offer, and going from there.
Yeah, he talks about the Godfather offer. Sabi, a good high level Aussie digital marketer. Sabi is based in Australia, so I think he's up in Sydney. Yeah, I've read that as well. Really good book. He's definitely got a very peaked version of marketing. It's very he tends to err on the side of sensationalism in terms of copy and positioning and offer. But I mean that stuff does work to a certain degree. Certainly attention grabbing. If you've ever seen some of his ads online, it's pretty sensationalist and very. He talks a lot about the sort of magazine cover, right? That sort of magazine cover type of copywriting, where it's you're sort of piquing interest by having a bit of a sensational tip. But the strategy of how he talks about sort of building out that funnel and having that Godfather offer, the offer that you can't refuse, and running that into landing pages and sales pages. Really good solid methodology. So I like you were sort of talking about how you had that sort of 3-day kind of trial, because I think that's really interesting actually, because I think a lot of people will go into doing free work, doing free services for way too long a time, and they burn themselves out by just doing free work. And that also, I think that also there's kind of a psychological component to that as well, where you're setting yourself up that I'm worth nothing, right? There's a worthiness thing. We're saying, well, literally, I'm worth nothing. So I just sort of cut that short and said, look, 3 days, here's some results. And if they didn't move forward, that you were getting those, you're at least getting something from that relationship in form of a testimonial.
Yeah.
Were you doing the same? Was that the same you were doing with the real estate, or did you shift that specifically to because you weren't dealing directly with the dentists?
That's pretty much what I was doing with real estate, except I was doing 2-week trials, 2-week free trials.
Right.
And out of that, I wasn't asking for any testimonials. I was just saying, hey, I'll do this for free for 2 weeks. They still obviously paid for the ad spend. But from there, it was typically like nobody wanted to move forward. I was lucky enough, since my dad was, he's a mortgage broker. He knew a ton of real estate agents, and they were willing to try me out. And once I got some capital, I started, sending out cold emails. I started, making 50 to 100 cold calls a day, trying to, land some meetings and things like that. But I guess that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, I think that's another interesting thing is network is a really good place to go to actually find clients, particularly when you're starting out. But I mean, at any time, if you've got a network, whether let's say like that's your dad's friends or friends of a friend or your girlfriend's partner, or when you're starting out, I think networks are there's some really good low hanging fruit. And I think it's something people tend not to tap into too much. They sort of go straight to Facebook ads or digital marketing or cold outreach, and they ignore that network. But there's a lot of money to be made in network. And I know when I was starting out, all of our initial clients were network. It was people we knew. It was friends of friends, and even one of our biggest, we had a multi-million-dollar client, a major global airline, and that was through network as well. So I mean, I think that's a really, really good place to start. but even at any time in your business, if you want to get some quick wins and scale quickly, tapping into network can be a really powerful thing. So yeah, love that you saw that and you lent into that and
Yeah.
sort of build some quick wins. And nothing sells like a referral, right? If you're getting referred in by someone, you sort of you get over a bit of the hump of, I don't know who this person is, I don't know if I should trust them or not.
Yeah.
And sort of going in with it's sort of at least lukewarm at that point. If you're getting referred in, they're more likely to give you a shot. And particularly, like you say, if you're layering that with, hey, look, I'll do it for free for a few days and get you a result, and we'll sort of move from there.
Yeah. And that's actually how, when I did decide, I want to focus on dentists and chiropractors, luckily my mom knew a chiropractor. She's not best friends, but they're close friends. She's been on his podcast. During COVID, he started his own podcast just to try and stay relevant, try and stay afloat, and kind of stand out in his market. And I think that helped him out.
Nice.
But she told him what I was doing, and he was like, well, that's great, I want to talk with him because I hate the people that are doing my marketing right now. And so we hopped on a call, him and his business partner, and he basically, he's the closest thing to an angel that there is. I was basically he was kind of I don't want to say like a mentor or anything, but I did end up signing him on as a client, and remains my biggest client because he's a pay per appointment type thing. And the more that he spends, the more that I'm able to make. But he really helped me out because I was able to ask him questions like, how do I get in the door? How do I approach dentists and chiropractors? Because, they're bombarded with cold calls and cold emails and LinkedIn messages and people showing up at their house pretty much, trying to sell them digital marketing services or Facebook ads or whatever it is. And he really helped me out in, kind of fine tuning my approach to that. And then once I got him as a client, he referred me other people. And that's how I got my first few clients. It was just, kind of building off of his network. And then I started, doing my own strategy from what we talked about and what I learned from him.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's an extra benefit of that network, right? If you can find somebody if you start to get results for people and they go, this kid's great, I'm getting results. And then I think, mentor's probably not a bad word there.
Yeah.
If you can find a client who can also give you that mentorship, or at least that direction of like, you're getting me results, and you've got somebody that you can speak to and say, look, I want to target more people like you. How can you help me? Like, how do I sell to you? And if you can build that relationship where they're essentially giving you that insider secret, that's going to save you a whole lot of time and a whole lot of energy in trying to figure it out. So I think that's a really great approach. If you can find somebody in your market who you can walk into as a warm referral, start getting results, prove to them that you've got something valuable, but then also have that extra benefit of just, look, I want to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
How do I get to more people like you? So, and also, like I said, get referrals, right? Quick way to build business if he then refers you on to other people. So what was that? What did you find? What was that secret in terms of getting to, when he give away all of your marketing and targeting secrets, but what was it? Because I would imagine, not having targeted dentists and chiros, that first contact's probably going to be with a secretary or someone at the front of house. It's the dentist's busy, they're hard to reach. How did you sort of break through and end up getting some of these people on the phone or into a call or onto an email? How did you get that contact?
Yeah, so it's really just I don't know if you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yep. But it was around the time that I read that. It was explaining the difference between assets and liabilities, and obviously assets make you money. And one thing that he told me when we had this conversation was, you need to stand out and you need to provide value to them, you need to relate to them. And I really just put myself in their shoes and kind of thought of what it would be like to receive so many cold calls and so many emails of people trying to, send you probably the same script, right? So I kind of thought, what's something that I could do to stand out, provide value, and, kind of help them out. So I really just said, okay. And I asked my, some of my current clients, I was like, hey, what are some things that you maybe had some doubts on, some concerns with before, you even talked to me? Like, what would have prevented you from moving forward or talking with me in the first place? And I really just found out some, common concerns that they had, and put that all together in a video, and kind of, really just diving into, how, not really trying to sell them. I wasn't trying to sell them on anything. I was just trying to, provide some value. I showed them some live campaigns that we had, some of my strategies that I, actually ran currently for, my other client. And I think that, was able to, and it was a Loom video. So, obviously once they view it, you get notified. And another thing on that, the first, I guess, rough draft of the video, I thought it was perfect, obviously, but once I started sending it out, people were viewing it, but they were only watching like 45 seconds to a minute. So I had to dive in and say, okay, what's wrong here? And then it took 3 or 4 times for me to actually find out what worked the best for that average watch time to be, 3 to 4 minutes. And that's, typically when I'm getting into my, if you want to talk to me, my schedule call down below, blah, blah, blah. But it was really just, providing value and kind of standing out. And I was really honest with them. I was like, I'm young. I put my age in there. I was like, I'm 17, I'm 18. But I mean, this is some free value. If you don't want it, then that's fine. But obviously, I was at the time I was sending that on LinkedIn. I was sending that on to the practice's email. Some people aren't going to open it. Some people aren't going to even watch it. Some people will. But it's really just a numbers game at the end of the day. And I think with that approach, that really helped me out. I still haven't ran any ads yet for myself, but I'm thinking about doing that, starting here soon.
Yeah, I love that you've done that work, and you're, again, really, really simple, kind of obvious, but not that obvious, is ask your audience what they want.
Yeah.
And actually talk to them, ask them questions, say, where are you hurting? What are your challenges? So I think as marketers, but as business owners, we can, particularly as agencies, we can find that we don't feel like we don't want to talk to our clients or ask them questions, or if we're asking them questions like that, they're going to feel like we don't know what we're doing or something like that, right? But I think it's the opposite. If you're genuine and you can show up and ask the right questions and say, look, how can I help you? Where are you hurting? And be there as somebody that's there to actually help them fix that stuff. I think that's a really great approach. So I think, again, it's some low-hanging fruit is, if you want to know what your audience wants, best place to start is to ask them the question, like, what are your challenges? What are your pain points? How could I help you out? Whether it's me or somebody else, what's the stuff that you're looking for? So I think some really, really great advice. And I think these days, age is probably less and less relevant, because I think older folks realize that your generation just gets this stuff and it's native, and you understand the ecosystem, you exist in it. You're sort of born digital, born interactive. You get this stuff. So I think that willingness to give you a shot, I think there's probably a shift in that as well. Sort of a generational shift where you're willing to give someone a shot because we get that you get it. And again, if you're getting in and you're proving the results and you're building that rapport and relationship by just asking them how you can help them, I think that's a really, really strong proposition to somebody. And again, I think it's great that you're doing that iteration as well, right? A lot of the time, like I said, we think we've nailed the sales page, we've nailed the video, and we send it out, and we never think to change it. But the fact you're tracking it, trying to work out, right, where are they falling off? How can I make it better? And again, that's really, really important too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I read, I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically a story of like when Facebook, kind of first came out, and all this. It's not about Facebook, but it's about this, I guess, dating. It's kind of like Tinder, like a dating site thing. And they were basically just talking about how much they had to test, how much data they had to go through. And I just like to think of myself as like a data-driven agency. I know that, maybe kind of a broad term or a bold term or whatever. But when I was writing copy any of the time, I was just like, how do I know, what's the right thing to say? So I just went to them. I just went to my current clients and I was like, how would you recommend that I, craft this? And they really helped me out from there. So I think, the best advice is if you do have any current clients and you are kind of struggling to scale, is just go to them and say, hey, how would you recommend someone like me approach people like you, So, because that's what I did, and it tended to work for me. I don't think it may not work for everybody. But like you said, if you have a good relationship with your clients, then I think there's going to be no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that also sets up a really strong relationship with the client. If you're open and honest and you're talking and acting like a human being, at the end of the day, that's who we want to work with. I don't necessarily think that people are expecting even agencies or solopreneurs, digital marketers to be 100% perfect all of the time. I think we sort of understand it is an iterative game. But yeah, if you can set up that relationship and have those real conversations, it's going to give you a massive boost because you're literally talking to the person that's buying your services and asking them, how can I sell more of this to someone just like you?
Yeah.
I think you've hit on something really, really important there. I think a lot of even bigger agencies, people that are looking to scale, miss that stuff. So so big congrats for just sort of naturally finding that stuff and leaning into it. I think it's really, really, really good, really powerful.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, man. Thank you for swinging by. If people do want to chat to you, they want to find out more about you, where's the best place for them to come and find you? There's some links up on screen, but where's the best place for them to find out more about you?
You can go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I haven't really done too much business-wise on my Instagram. I'm also a model, so that's kind of mainly what that is. Just boring modeling pictures and stuff like that. But Facebook, LinkedIn, just chat with me. I'm open to having any kind of conversation.
Awesome, man. So go check out Vince's modeling photos on his Instagram, and if that resonates with you, hit him up for some digital marketing too if you're in the chiro niche.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome, man. No, I think you're doing an amazing job again for a young guy, but I think there's a lot of people a lot older than you that sort of haven't tapped into some of that resource that you've tapped into very early. So yeah, I think you'll do very well for yourself. And are you enjoying the niche? Are you enjoying working with chiros and dentists? Is it an exciting niche for you?
Yeah, it is. It's really just because at this point, I've kind of found out. I have a whiteboard in front of me with whatever you call these markers and stuff, and I always kind of do iterations on the strategies for my clients, and I think it's. I personally like it more than real estate. Of course, it's only been 2 things that I've tried, but I don't see myself switching anytime soon.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice. I think again, once you're into that medical, that there's a lot of sub niches within that if you can get good at one, potentially you got that sort of horizontal scale. We can sort of move into adjacent stuff from massage therapists, chiros. Sort of an endless supply if you can crack the code, I guess, and sort of move within that sort of broader banner. Yeah,
really anything medical. I've talking with my team now and kind of diverging later on, once we have, hit our goals and everything, but kind of diverging into some other sub niches within the medical field, like as you said, like medical spas and laser hair removal, things like that. I think that would be, super beneficial for us as an agency.
Yeah, there's plenty of scope there. Yeah, it's massive industry, and a lot happening in there too. So yeah, lots of growth potential for you there. You're on the right track, man. Thanks for swinging by. I really appreciated the conversation. Hope people listening have got a ton of value out of it as well. I think it's been a really interesting show. And thanks for swinging by, mate. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Enjoyed this chat. Hope you got a lot out of it, as I did. Hit Vince up if you're looking to get some digital marketing, or hey, if you just want to go check out some of his modeling photos, go check out his Instagram. But I'll link all of those links in the show notes, so you can check him out and get connected. Thanks for coming by, mate. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the invite.
Absolute pleasure. And thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.